All right, let me get my, let's get started with the recording, getting everything in order here. I want to pull back on my computer a little bit so I'm not right up in your face. All right, so let's start this off, you guys. Tell me in the chat who you are, where you live, how long you've been health coaching. And basically, I'm also kind of trying to poll some health coaches and find out, who's running a successful business right now. So tell me if you have a waiting list of clients. Tell me, how long you've been health coaching. I want to hear more about you guys in these types of webinars. It's really helpful for me because then I can meet your needs. So that's the goal with providing trainings like today, is to meet needs that I'm seeing out in the boards and in the conversations, and that my students in mentorship and mastery people are talking about. And one of the things that people were talking about, wanting to have a better understanding of, is how to safely guide your clients through cleaning out their pantries and their refrigerators. Because for those of you who don't know, I talk a lot about safety and the language we should be using and how we should be delivering information to our people, to our clients, and to our potential clients. And one of the things that we cannot do is to say those things. Don't eat that, eat this instead, use this supplement, don't use that. Like, we cannot be specific with the things that we say people should be doing. And so doing a pantry and refrigerator clean out has been one of those things that I'm reading, and I've been asked to create this because they're perplexed about how to possibly be able to guide people when we can't say what they can and cannot do, or what they should and should not eat, and so on and so forth, okay? So I see you guys lighting up the chat, which I am going to return to at the end of the training, so I can get to know some of you guys a little bit. But just as a reminder, you've got a Q&A box down there to put your questions. You can put them in the chat too, but it really goes a lot faster if we can do it in the Q&A, so I don't have to scroll through all the conversation and find what your needs are. So today we're talking about the pantry and refrigerator clean out, because many people think that that is absolutely the first step in changing someone's health, is changing what they eat. For me, it's all about stress. I believe that we've got to work on our stress perception. Our clients should be seeing their stress differently in order to have good health. Because it doesn't matter what they put in their mouth. If they're stressed out, they're probably not going to have proper digestion, and so on and so forth, okay? And so when we do the pantry clean out, we want to make it really low stress for them to think about changing what they're putting in their mouth. And I'm going to pull the guides up here in a second and do a screen share with you guys and walk you through the process. But I want to tell a funny story, and this is the story I always tell because it is the story that stands out the most to me. When I started doing pantry clean outs and helping my clients through the process of taking out the things that were not good for them, I went to someone's house, and I'll name her Sue. And she was like, I'm ready to do this. Let's get in the pantry. We'd already been working together for about a month or so, just kind of giving her some education. And this was the preparation stage. So the method of coaching I teach is education, preparation, and action. So when we educate them in the first month of our relationship, we're really telling them why certain things may not be good for them. We're talking to them about the inflammatory foods that could be causing disease or keeping them from feeling well. We're talking to them about stress and how managing it and reducing it can be almost unattainable, but changing our perception to it isn't. So the 7 essentials that we walk through, we're educating them, then we're moving into the preparation phase where we are helping them get prepared to make changes. Now, the pantry and refrigerator clean out can be something you do in the first month as education, where you are there with them, walking them through it, and educating them about the labels and the things that they're eating. Or it can be the preparation stage. Once they understand about food and how it affects our body and disease, maybe they've watched some educational movies or whatever, this can be the preparation step. Or it can be the action step. So the pantry and refrigerator clean out can be one of those 3 steps: education, preparation, or action, depending on the client, depending on where they are in their need for change, in their desire to change, in their goals, things like that. So just keep that in mind, you guys. You can insert this type of thing anywhere. And we're going to talk about it when I pull the document up. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to use it as well. So I have 3 dogs and a kid home with snow today. So if there's a little background noise or barking starts or anything like that, if you'll just be kind enough to give me a minute, I'll mute my microphone, get everybody quiet, and we'll get back to it. So just want to give you a heads up that there might be a little bit of interruption today. And let me go ahead and get started here. I'm going to look at the chat real quick and see who is on with us. Oh, I love it. Hey, Lisa. Yay, I'm actually here. Can you believe it? I know. Yay. And I know you, I read a post by you today, Lisa. It sounds like you've got a lot going on with your business and coaching and things like that. So I'm happy to see you here. All right. And let's see. I wanted to see if Dawn has popped on. I don't see her yet. So I will use Lisa, since you're my first poster, as my touchstone. Tell me when you see my screen, and then we'll get rolling. So give me a minute. And just as a reminder, you guys, you're getting both of these documents. So before you ask, do we get a copy? Yes, you do. You get a copy of the clean out guide, and you get a copy of my introduction to you about the pantry clean out. So let me move this window out of the way. All right, Lisa, can you see this okay? I need to move this over here too. Once I get the go ahead from Lisa that it's all is well. Yes, you can see it. Perfect. Then we'll get started. Hi, Helen. Hey, Brandy and Robin. Wow, this thing was flying down. I'm losing everybody. Okay, there we go. Lynn, hi guys. Okay. All right, let's get started. Okay, so I'm gonna read through this, and I'm gonna make some comments, as I typically do with my trainings, and share some insight from experience that I've been through, and maybe some tips and suggestions. So do not hold your questions, you guys. Plug them in. Ask me anything you want to know. If you have concerns or worries, how to implement, whatever it is, I'm here to answer your questions today. Okay, and we are recording. Perfect. All right, so the pantry refrigerator cleanout process should be as simple as possible, as I just said a minute ago, to encourage your clients to follow through. It's a great add-on to any existing service you already offer, whether it's contracted sessions, one-time sessions, groups, whatever it may be. It can be done at the client's location with you as a guide, and we're going to talk about this more later. Or you can send it to them as an action step. You can even make a group training out of this by holding a class about how to do it, and then asking everyone to send pictures of their safe and unsafe piles, which I'm going to explain to you in a minute. So let me touch on this too, because everybody that knows me really well knows that I'm all about group training. Because I'm not going to tell you you're going to make six figures in your health coaching business one-on-one, but I am going to tell you that you have the opportunity to get closer to that six figures everyone's telling you about. I'm just happy with the 5 figures when it comes to health coaching, as long as they're, it meets your needs. But with the group coaching added into your services. So if you are a health coach that has not started group coaching yet, this is a good opportunity. So here's what that might look like for me. Okay, so if I were going to do this as a group coaching session, I would probably hold a free, 45-minute Q&A or 45-minute training, whether it be online or in person. It's up to you, wherever you want to live and wherever you work. And I would, let's do it online, for example, because that's where we are today. I would hold a meeting like this. I would send out invitations to people to opt in, so you get their email address, and just let them know you're talking about something. You're going to go into a conversation and have a training about whole food. I'm just go with me here. I'm just making this up. And then at the end of your education or your training that you're offering about whole food and GMOs or whatever topic you choose, you can then lead into the pantry and refrigerator clean out as a class that they can take, or you can lead into it as something that they can purchase from you online without you. Okay, and we will talk more about that towards the end of this, but that's 2 options that you can do this as a group training, where you're doing that free conversation in the very beginning, where you're talking to them, sharing information. Never ever hold a training where you're not providing value. You've got to provide value on the front end of it. Then at the very end, you can give them the option that feels good to you. The other thing that you can do is, if you are doing this locally, you can do a free conversation or a free training at, say, the library or somewhere, or rent some space. And then you can set that date where maybe you have some a nutrition store locally that has a refrigerator or a pantry or whatever. But you can actually walk through them the same way I'm doing this with you today. Maybe you're not in their pantry as a group or whatever, but you are walking them through the process and allowing them access to you to ask you questions. And that is the valuable part of training. So remember that when you are doing something like this, you guys, when you're working with your people, the value is that they get to have access to you. So, and there are some go-getters out there. They just want the clean out sheet. They don't need you there to do it for them. And those are great, but there are more people out there that want to have that support. So just remember that when you're setting up groups and classes. All right. So for example, maybe you do a group and you tell them whoever does the clean out first wins a free grocery store trip with me, or whatever you want to offer. It makes a great freebie for an opt-in to gather email addresses, where you can hold a class like I just told you and use the guide as a giveaway for attending. So for example, someone cleans out their pantry. You put it out there as a challenge or whatever word you want to use. And the first person to send you a picture of what I'm about to walk you through gets a free consultation, 30 minutes, or a free grocery store trip with you to replace the things that they're throwing out, or whatever incentive you want to give to get people motivated to participate. All right, so no matter how you choose to use this, you guys, it's yours to customize and change it to suit your business. I'm just giving you some ideas, okay? All right, so some suggestions for not overwhelming your clients and staying low risk in this particular action step. Do not tell them to go, okay, don't tell them to go paleo, keto, or vegan, or any other plan that you subscribe to. We never tell anyone to do something like that. And I'm going to teach you how to suggest, make recommendations in a moment, but just keep that language out completely when you're working with clients on any topic whatsoever, not just with the clean out, but with anything. We never tell someone what to do. We never tell them what's best for them, okay? We want them to figure out what's best for them on their own using instincts and intuition and our support and our guidance and our resources. Remind them it's their decision, and the steps they will take to reach goals will be manageable. So in other words, when you're having this conversation or when you are in the clean out, if they say to you, should I throw this jar of, or this box of macaroni and cheese? You wouldn't say, oh yeah, throw that out. You would say to them, so that would be an item that I would consider putting into the unsafe pile. And I'm going to let you make the decision on what you choose to do with that particular item. So having your conversation and the way that you deliver information needs to be very neutral, and it needs to always take that ball and lobby it back into your client's court. Okay. Again, reminding them to start where they feel most comfortable when removing things. So if taking out chips is easier than taking out cookies, let them decide that that's what they want to do. And you'll see what I'm talking about when we get to the actual guide that you'll be using with your clients when I'm talking about this, okay? I like to encourage the client to clean it all out and put it back for the very first clean out. Now, it can be a colossal undertaking for people to just see what they have that's toxic and inflammatory or just not real food, right? How many times have we actually looked in our own pantry and been like, oh, I know I need to clean that out, or I need to get organized. And then we just shut the pantry door. I mean, I did that today myself. I'm not going to go in there and clean out. I've been doing this for years, eating this way, but to even organize it is a pain for me. Not even to think about pulling it out and trying to figure out what's good for me and what's not good for me, right? That alone feels overwhelming. All right, so I like to talk to them about this process when they start it. I like to talk to them about inflammatory foods first. So when we're doing something like this, you can provide a list if you want to, but when you see the guide, you'll see that I've given you some options to use. And I usually just say to them, the top inflammatory foods, in my opinion, in my experience, are gluten, GMOs, GMO soy, white sugar products, omega-6 oils, and so on. So when starting this process, start with those top inflammatory products. Don't leap into everything else, that down the line that we know is unhealthy. We know as health coaches, but they don't need all of those other things, like talking to them about fillers and things that like rice flour and stuff like that. Let's start with the real obvious basics. Okay. I do not suggest adding in an elimination diet with this clean out unless they have been instructed to do so by their physician or unless they want to. The doctor should be their guide, but that would really be overkill unless they have been prescribed that for emergency health issues. So that might look like someone who was admitted to the hospital last week for ulcerative colitis or Crohn's or something like that. And they have been given the word by their doctor that says, if you don't make some changes, we're going to do a colon dissection, which is what almost happened with one of my clients. That would be kind of one of those emergency health issue situations that they need to be led by their doctor. And if they are ready to dive into that elimination process, that would be a situation where I would be comfortable saying, you know what, you got to get a handle on this pretty quickly according to your doctor. So yes, I can absolutely help walk you through that process. For everyone else, just the words elimination diet are really foreign words. But then when we throw a list of things at them that they cannot eat anymore, I mean, to me, it stressed me out. I feel like it's too stressful. It's not something that I advocate for unless it's an emergency. I actually call it the backwards elimination plan, the BEP. And this pantry clean out fits nicely into that, where we take out one thing at a time and we take our time with it, or our client takes their time with it and, taps into what might or might not be bothering them. So with the backwards elimination plan, if that's something that anyone is interested in doing with their clients, you have to remember this, that when we take out a food, we're not going to feel better. Some people feel better right away, but some people have so much inflammation in their body from that particular food, it can take 6 months to a year. So when someone says to me, oh, I went gluten-free for 30 days or even 60 days or even 6 months, and I didn't feel any better. I'm like, well, maybe there's something else happening there, but I always like to remind them that, you know what, here's the thing. One crumb is as damaging as one whole piece of birthday cake, okay? So even if you cross with one crumb of gluten, if your body cannot handle it, it is not going to calm down until it's completely gone for a long period of time, and it gives it you give your body the chance to repair. All right. So when we're doing the backwards elimination plan, I like to let people know, like, this process is totally up to you on how we do it. But I agree with going completely nice and slow and easy, and do what feels right for you. All right. So the proof is in the piles is a statement that I like to use because we are going to teach them how to make piles. And we'll get into that in just a second when I pull up the other document. And I will check on the chat for questions as well in a moment. But let the safe and unsafe piles speak for themselves. So no need to chastise or shame them or shake your head and be like, oh my gosh, you know, I've actually had a coach tell me that she did this before. So you don't want to make them feel worse about what they don't even know about right now, right? So saying something like, we have room for improvement and I can't wait to watch you grow through this process and through this experience, goes back to the story that I was telling you earlier, I got sidetracked. But the funny part is that when we cleaned her pantry out and she took everything out and we had one counter for safe and one side for unsafe, two different sides of the kitchen, the only thing she had left was a jar of olives. And even those were not organic. It was just some jar of like off-brand olives. And she looked at the piles and she asked me, do I have to throw that jar of olives away too? And I was like, no, you know what? I'll let you keep it. Even if it's not organic, you know, you got to have one item that you can keep in your pantry, right? And what we ended up doing was we put it all back into the pantry. We put everything back into the pantry. We did the same thing with the refrigerator because she was not ready to start completely from scratch. And I don't recommend that either. I just think that's too stressful. So programs and plans for people who do want to dive in and change everything at once can be found in the links that I'm going to give you guys on the other page. You know, the keto plan, the Whole30, vegan, but the method of clean out is the same. They just won't put it all back after they finish. So if they choose to deep dive into a food plan of some sort, then they can use this clean out guide as a guide on how to do it. But then they would then follow their own choice of plan, ketogenic, Whole30, whatever. All right. Options for using this clean out as a service you offer. You can go to their home and do an assisted clean out. This might take longer than if they do it alone. So just make sure, you guys, that you charge accordingly for your time. So, sorry, I'm getting hot. So if you go to their house, you want to account for the time that you are getting ready to go there. You want to account for the time that it takes you to get there. You want to make sure you add in, it's going to be more than an hour for sure. I mean, if you've seen some of the pantries I've seen, oh my gosh. I would just make sure that you have time carved out around the hour that we typically spend with our clients, and then time to get home. So that is going to be a more expensive option, in my opinion. So remember that when you are doing this, safety is your first priority, you guys. And a lot of people don't think about that. They think, well, I'm just going over to this girl's house that, you know, hired me to help do a pantry clean out. You don't know what you're walking into if you don't know someone. So always, always tell someone where you're going, right? Let them know where you're going, what the address is. Tell them when you arrive. So whether it's a spouse or a friend or another coach or just someone that knows where you are when you arrive, and then let them know you've left. So that's just common sense there, but I have to throw that in because it's important. A lot of people don't understand that when we are walking into someone's home, you know, we never know what we're going into, okay? So have your disclaimers signed, have your client's agreements done prior to going to their home or when you first get there. Get it out of the way, get it done. Make sure that you have that signature on whatever you choose to use, whether it's a disclaimer, whether it's a client agreement, or whatever it is. And I would charge by the hour for something like this, and I would do maybe a 50% deposit prior to the cleanout session, and then the balance while you're there, or you can invoice them and get paid for the balance when you're finished with it. You can also create an evergreen offering. So basically an evergreen offering, evergreen is something that that can continue to be sold past the time it's produced. So create the offering there. Maybe you record a welcome to the pantry cleanout video, and maybe you do like a 5 to 10 minute thing on, you know, like QuickTime or something like this, and you welcome your clients or whoever purchases it and tell them, you know, I'm so excited you've decided to change your life and clean out your pantry in the guide that you purchased that's downloadable for you. You're going to find da 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 da, and just do a nice little welcome video. People like to see who they're purchasing from, and they like to have some of that personal contact, and a video is a great way to do it. So you would add a video and the downloadable clean out document as a package on your website, okay? So you could also walk them through the steps of the pantry clean out if you want to, but I don't think it's necessary. Now this package would be offered through your shop, a landing page, an opt-in, wherever you live online, wherever you live in social media or on your website. You will need to know how to create these things. I see a spelling error here, and I'll fix that before you guys get it. But you'll have to have a landing page, you'll have to have a checkout system and so on to do this. So it's not as simple as someone sends you PayPal and then you send it to them, unless you're just starting out, which is, you can do that as well. But I would have someone set this up for you, or I would learn to do it myself, so that it is something that is gathering passive income for you and lives online on your website. You can also start out an online session where they're on with you like this in a meeting, where they have their screen opened up. It's aimed at whatever they're cleaning out. You're sitting up in the corner like I'm sitting in the corner for you guys right now. And you can walk them through. So spend an hour, with them, where they may walk over to you and they can hold up something to you so you can see the label, and you can say, okay, so I would consider that an unsafe item if that were me. Or you can say, actually, that only has one ingredient, I don't know, like cabbage and water, or I don't know, whatever. And you can guide them through and they don't feel like they're doing it alone. It also can be a less expensive option because you're not having to leave your house. You're not going to their location. You're not spending the travel time and getting ready and so on. So this could be a less expensive, more appealing offer for people who want to do this, and they still get access to you and support as well. Now, after an hour or so, you can leave them to it and ask for the finished project pictures to be sent to you. Or if they want you there for the whole thing, make sure you charge accordingly, okay? So when you're setting up your fees and services for this type of clean out, you guys, you can set it as an a la carte item or something like that, but make sure that you're very specific that if you do something like this, where you do an online session or you go to someone's home, that you are specific in your fees, where you say, pantry and refrigerator clean out, and this is just an example, is usually a 2-hour process. If we go over that time, the billing for that would be so-and-so. So don't get yourself in a situation where you get out to someone's house to start the process with them, and they just want to talk about their health, or they've got kids at home, or their dogs are in the way, or a repairman shows up, or whatever, and you're standing around waiting for them to finish the project, okay? So just know that life happens around us, and we just need to make sure that we honor ourselves in the time that we're giving to people by adding that into our services at the front end. Nobody wants to hear, you know what, I've been here for 4 hours. I know that you paid me for an hour, but now, I've got to charge you for 3 more. You don't want to say that. They don't want to hear it. So just avoid getting that in that situation, okay? All right, so reminders of this, and then we'll move into the guide page. This is an action step for the client that you are not responsible for, okay? They either will or they will not follow through. And your job as a health coach is to provide guidance, support, and resources, and that's it. So if someone buys it and signs up for it and then they keep backing out, oh well. If someone buys it and then you go to their house and they say halfway through, this is just too much, oh well, right? You are responsible for supporting them. Please do not take responsibility or feel accountable for whether or not they follow through. And that's with anything we do with health coaching, but I wanted to make sure to put that in here as well. Do not pressure them to do anything before they are ready. So ask them, how are you feeling about the changes? What feels the most difficult to you? Trust me when I tell you, someone is going to pull out a food item and say, I feel like I'm going to die without this particular thing. I honestly am so attached to chocolate, chips, whatever it may be. And we know as health coaches, or maybe we don't, but you should know that when people are attached to food, it can be very complicated. And that's why I added this part too. Honor their relationship to it. And don't assume it's just as simple as cutting out sugar, because it's truly not. It's not simple to just go, oh, well, here's a bottle of stevia as your gift. When we're doing your sugar detox in your pantry, you can use this instead. It just doesn't work that way. So if you're not familiar with what emotional eating is, there's a link in here for you guys to take it further. Many, many people suffer from this. And it's not only because they have unaddressed issues from, when they were growing up, or maybe they were forced to clean their plate or whatever. Neurotransmitters can actually affect us greatly with how we feel about food. So if we are low on, our clients or ourselves are low on adrenal function, where we're overly stressed out all the time, and maybe we have an excessive craving for salt, it's a great time to educate people about that as well. So while you're doing a clean out, someone says, I just crave salty food all the time, I can't seem to get enough. You can share information here that says something that, would you like me to share a resource when I get back to my office about how people that crave salt might have low adrenal function? Would that be beneficial for you to look into? Because it's not necessarily a willpower thing. Neurotransmitters, adrenals, things like that really play into this. And our adrenals crave salt when we're under stress. So that can be one reason why people eat that way. All right. So do we have questions? Let me see. We're lighting up over here. So I'm going to pull this up. Jackie says, what's a reasonable price to charge for a pantry clean out? And I'm looking at my other window over here, you guys. So for the questions. I'm going to roll it over here so I don't look like I'm looking to the side. Okay. So a reasonable price for a pantry clean out, that depends. It's just like any other coaching service that you offer. I get a lot of questions about how do you determine fees and services? How do you decide what to charge? So for my pantry clean outs, back when I was doing those, it was part of the one-on-one contracted relationship for most of my clients. So it was included, and it was one of the sessions that we spent together. I practiced a 3-month approach with every single client every single time. So if it was part of that, we just made it one of their sessions. So it was $275 for the session. So I would go over there. It was, at the time, it was $275 for me to go over and clean out their pantry and so on and so forth. And you know, and that was for the hour. And then anything beyond that, I added on an a la carte charge. I can't remember what it was. It might have been like maybe $20 per half hour or something like that. I can't remember. So I think it's going to be dependent on, you know, where you live. Do you go there? Do you do it online? How long are you there? How much experience do you have with this type of thing? So you're going to have to make the decision on your own. But all I can say is this, that if you do go somewhere, I really want you to make sure that you add in, you know, things like the gas and the travel and all of that into the set price. Now, I'm not saying if I travel, don't put it on there like, if I travel, I've got to charge you for gas or anything like that. Just build it into the price that you're charging, okay? All right, if that didn't answer it, let me know, Jackie. And then you continued and said, do I have a sample disclaimer for a pantry clean out? Yep, I've got it on the form I'm about to pull up. You're going to see it. Now, just remember this, you guys, if you are looking at using, you know, anything that I give you for a disclaimer, then I encourage you to take that to an attorney or show it to an attorney and see if it qualifies for wherever you live for what you're doing with your business. It's what I used. My attorney said it covered what I was doing in my area for my business at the time. Now I'm only including it on the guide so you guys can see that it's important and that you can use it if you want to. But my disclaimer is this: I don't know if it's going to legally protect you when you use it. Okay, so just with that said, you're welcome to it, but I cannot say that it's going to protect you because I don't know what you're doing with your business where you live, and I'm not an attorney. And yes, you can use a regular client contract if you like, if you want to play with that a little bit with the language, absolutely. All right, Jill is saying, when offering it online as a package, they can purchase and do it themselves. How do you do a video to welcome them and explain the project to them and attach it to the purchase? Okay, good question. So here's what you can do. If you have a Mac computer, which a lot of the coaches here do, we have QuickTime on here, which is a way for us to just do not a screen recording, but a quick video recording. And you will take that and you can convert that into YouTube, right? So on YouTube is where you would plug that clean out video, and then you would share the URL from YouTube within a document. Maybe you write a welcome letter. You know, dear so-and-so, dear, you know, client, thank you so much for purchasing the pantry and refrigerator clean out guide. I know you're going to find this so beneficial to taking steps forward with your health, blah, 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 blah. Please see this video that I've created just for you prior to starting. Attach the URL, sign your name on it, and then that will be a downloadable document as well. If you are more advanced in your business or you're further ahead, you can also take that video and you can embed it in a downloadable, like where they purchase the program and then the video is embedded in a program. I don't do it. My people do that for me because I don't have a clue how to do it. But the video goes directly to them when they get the purchase. So there are a couple different ways to do it. But the first way I explained it, Jill, is much easier, and it's the easiest way to do it. It's how I would do it if I was taking care of it for myself. Linda says, if you're offering to follow up with sending them resources, do you then charge for your time and do that? So if it's something simple, like if I say to someone, if someone says to me, yes, I'd absolutely love to learn more about the adrenals, I'm just going to send them a link on it. But what I might do also is throughout the clean out, if that's all you're doing is a clean out and it's not attached to a session, I would probably make some mental notes about the things that they're talking about and telling me. And then when I got back, when I create that email, I would also say something like, and another example. So here is the link for the adrenal resource I was talking to you about. I also heard you mention earlier that you've been working really hard to lose weight, but you've been struggling since entering perimenopause. If you want to take your health even further by learning more about how hormones affect your weight and your health, I do one-on-one consultations as well, and I will give you 10% off since you're an existing client to sign up with me, and we can do that as well. So if it's something simple, one quick resource, no, I'm not going to charge them for that. but I also am going to kind of open that door of opportunity for them to sign up for something else as well. Okay. I hope that's helpful. All right. Alice is saying, I am holding an in-house meeting tomorrow night. 10 people coming. What would you focus on as your topic for addressing pain points for just a 30-minute presentation? Like focus on inflammatory foods, fat burning foods, take them to my pantry, and so on. Okay, so wow, you have 10 people coming to your house. Okay, so let me say this too, and then we're going to get back to the training, and then I'll go further with the questions as well. So what I would do, make sure, Alice, that you have a disclaimer at your house, and this is just me being overly paranoid and overly careful. When people entered my house, when I was cooking here and I was teaching here and I was working with some clients, I didn't do it often. It made me uncomfortable because not everybody was a good friend, and anything can happen when someone's at your house. Like, I don't know, someone could trip and fall, someone could eat something that they shouldn't, I don't know. But make sure that you have a disclaimer or something that says that you are not held liable for participation in the event occurring at, put your address, or you can actually even reach out to an attorney and get something like that as well. But I know that it's tomorrow night, so I would just have something really simple, type it up, maybe go out online and see if you can find something for an in-house meeting that protects you. And don't forget to do that, okay? I just want to make that comment very clear. A lot of people like to do this stuff in their house, and I just, it's one of those things I've moved away from because I don't like the liability that goes with it, the uncertainty. I also don't like people in my house that much, kind of my space. And a lot of people don't know when to leave. So just, maybe I hope it goes really well. I'm sure 10 people is incredibly impressive that you're having it in-house for 10 people. Just make sure you protect yourself. Now, as a topic for addressing pain points for just a 30-minute presentation, I focus on 7 essentials. It's what I teach at the Institute. It's what I teach my students. It's what I train on. You can talk about each one of the 7 essentials for 5-6 minutes each. So talk about whole food. Talk about stress perception, how it's hard to manage stress and reduce it. So changing the way they see it, it would be really powerful. Talk about sleep and how optimizing your sleep can help you with fat burning. Talk to them about safe movement, that, maybe doing too much exercise can cause, people to not lose weight, which is absolutely one of the biggest problems I'm seeing today. Oh my gosh. People are exercising their brains out and they're gaining weight or they're not losing weight. Stop exercising. That's all I can say. Then you've got spirituality and you've got trauma. So also don't forget the fun part. So you can touch on all 7 of those briefly. That will fill a 30-minute presentation. Or you can touch on the inflammatory foods, talk about GMOs, gluten, soy, and dairy, and just barely introduce the idea of these foods. And then you can take them to your pantry. Absolutely. You probably don't have a lot of inflammatory foods in your pantry, Alice. I'm going to guess that you're a pretty healthy person, but you can take them there and you can say, this is my pantry or my refrigerator or whatever. And I absolutely I am not denying myself the wonderful things in life just because I eat this way. So it'd be great incentive for them to see a full pantry. So that's a great idea. All right. So I hope that's helpful. But you could talk for an hour on all that stuff, but definitely lead into something paid. If it's not a paid event tomorrow, lead to something paid. So have something typed up and ready to go. So even if it's something like gathering email addresses for an opt-in. All right. I'm going to go back to questions in a minute, you guys, but I want to get started because I think some of this is going to answer some of the questions that are coming up. Let's see here. Give me a minute. That's not it. Let me pull up. I think this is it. Here's the other document. Okay, so let me minimize all this stuff going on in the background here. Okay, so here is the customizable document that you guys are going to get. Let me move the questions over here. Okay, so this is yours to put your logo on. You can change anything you want. If you don't even want to say dear client, you don't have to. Everything's changeable. It's a Word document that has been adapted for PC or Mac users. And this is what you would be either selling online that they can download. You would be taking it with you so that they can get a copy, or this is what, you can have them have a copy where they are and you have a copy where you are if you're doing a virtual meeting like this. So it looks like this. The pantry and refrigerator clean out can be a great first step to getting familiar with ingredient labels and what it means to move away from a refined and box food way of eating and into a whole food lifestyle. Let me stop here and say this. If you are practicing if you were in a green state, red state, yellow, orange, it doesn't matter. Practice as if you're in a red state, you guys. Don't use words like changing your diet or whatever. If you notice here, I don't use the word diet. I use a boxed food way of eating into a whole food lifestyle. The word diet should be restricted to dietitians I don't use the word nutrition. Those of you who know me are like going, okay, here she goes again. But there's a lot of new people here today. And I just want to make sure you guys know we have to be careful with how we deliver information, how we write information. So in lieu of using those words, make sure you use words that that don't get you in a position where you're acting as if you are a dietitian or a nutritionist, especially when you are entering the food area with your clients. You are entering the pantry, the refrigerator, you are discussing labels, you are dipping your toe a little bit deeper into the idea of working with people on food, okay? Then you can say, if you feel inclined to begin your new plan right away, it's important to remember there is a honeymoon phase with any change you make with food and lifestyle. The excitement can make you want to jump into everything right away, and then you may find yourself falling off your new plan and feeling defeated. This is not what we want. We want you to make decisions that are sustainable and that feel good as you make them. Notice how we are saying to them that, you know, we want them to feel good about the decisions they're making, the decisions they are making, not the ones we're telling them to do. We want you to make decisions that are sustainable, that are lifelong, and that feel good as you make them. So all of this language in here is geared towards making sure that the client knows that they're making these decisions. We are not. It's all about what they want to do. Making a note here that we are trying not to focus on calories and carbs, et cetera, for this particular clean out. We are not concerned with the quantity of fat and carbs, et cetera. We are concerned with the quality of the ingredients. This may go against everything you've been told, but one of the main purposes of this action step is to help you shift your thinking and undo everything you've been taught about food and how it affects your body. Take your time. So one of the reasons that I've got that in there is because people are so obsessed with calories. They're so obsessed with how much fat, and that fat makes you fat. Like, we all know that that's not true. We all know calories don't mean squat unless you're obese or you've had gastric bypass or you've got other things going on. Calories don't mean anything. It's the quality of food that people are putting in their mouths that is causing the inflammation in the body and the problem that they are having with their hormones and everything else. And then we say to them, reminder, I encourage you to discuss any changes you wish to make with your physician before transitioning into a new approach to eating, right? Again, one more time, talk to your doctor, right? Let me get a drink of my kombucha. Okay, so steps to a successful pantry clean out. You will repeat the steps below the same way for a refrigerator clean out. There's nothing different about it. So step 1, create a clean space in 2 separate counter areas of your kitchen, okay? Step 2, pull up ewg.org so you can look up specific ingredients as you go. Now, ewg.org has things on there for food, makeup, cosmetics, cleaning solutions, laundry products, lotion, all of that. So this particular clean out here can be done the same type of way, if you think about it, with someone's cosmetics or body products, right? And so many of you know I signed up with Beauty Counter, and that's what I did when I went in and cleaned out everything. I did the same thing in my bathroom as I did in my kitchen. So you can actually add another added business service onto your a la carte for your clients by doing something like this for your bathroom or your body products or your clean household supplies as well. So they want to pull that up so they can look up specific ingredients as they go along. Using a blank piece of paper, write the word safe at the top of one piece and unsafe at the top of the other. Put them on opposite sides or areas of the clean spaces of the kitchen. Using a guide, now I've given you links in here. You guys can use whatever link you want to, but you can use the ones that I'm giving you. It really just kind of eliminates all of those inflammatory foods and gives them the basics. I'm not going to open it up because I've got 2 screens going. I'm afraid I'm going to lose it. But you're telling them, use a guide like this one or this one as your guideline for what is safe and unsafe. Create a shopping list of the items you cannot live without. You will find that you have things you didn't even realize you had and that you never even used them. These items you can leave off the list to replace. Put a garbage can and a boxes in the kitchen, one for donating to a local food bank and one for throwing if you feel the urge to do either. Now, one of the families that I walked through this process had a daughter with, she had rheumatoid arthritis. She and her sister had eczema. The parents were trying to work on their weight. I mean, they had a lot going on, and she was a dive-inner because her daughter was headed in for immunosuppressive drugs that the doctor was going to put her on because her rheumatoid arthritis was so terrible. Well, when her mom started cleaning out, she ended up filling up so many boxes that it lined the hallway all the way to the garage. So once people get started with something like this, and she donated her food to our local Nana Cafe, a Christian ministry that gets food for families. So don't throw the things away that are not expired and that are usable by someone else. You know, we want to make sure that people know that, you know, it's a good thing to donate those things. But anyway, she lined up the whole hallway with stuff, you guys. It was unbelievable. I have never been more proud of a clean out in my life than what she did. Okay, so number 7, Throw away things that are expired, unlabeled, or instinctively are not good for you. I mean, someone's going to pull out a container of frosting, Duncan Hines frosting, and if they look at that and go, well, I wonder if this is good for me, then we've got a lot more work to do than we think. Most people are going to pull that out and go, oh man, I love it. I like to stick my spoon in it at night, but I know it's not good for me. Okay. So common sense here. And where we come in with the education are on those questionable things that people ask, like maybe tuna and olive oil. Someone's going to say, well, can I keep this? That's where they're going to walk over to the screen, or they're going to ask you if you're there. This is one I'm not sure of. I know that tuna fish is good for you, and this is easy, but it's in oil. Is that an oil that I should or should not eat? So this is where your clarity is going to come in, you guys. This is where the coach support is important. Okay, on each item you pull out, look at the label, become familiar with ingredients. And a general rule of thumb is things you can't pronounce or that your grandparents wouldn't know what it is, with too many ingredients or more than a couple, are usually unsafe items, okay? The longer the ingredient list, the worse the product. Take a picture of each pile when you've completed the project. It's going to be great incentive to continue to make changes in other areas, and a good way to compare how far you've come after a few weeks of making changes. So this is a part I love, because when they pull it out, just literally stepping back and seeing, for that one girl that saw that jar of olives, her eyes were huge. She looked over at me and she goes, I don't even know what to say. And I was like, take a picture of it. Take a picture of one side, then take a picture of the other one. This is just a starting point. Don't worry about it. We're going to put it all back. And she was like, okay, because let's remember this, you guys, replacing food is not cheap. And if someone's emotionally attached, that's tough too. So we also have to remember that when we're doing these types of things, usually we're working with a woman or a wife, and they have a spouse, and that spouse is probably not super excited about the fact that someone's there to help them turn their kitchen upside down and make it an expensive investment into things that are better for them. So be sensitive to that, okay? Be sensitive to that when you're helping people with this process. And I'm going to get to questions in a minute, you guys, but we're going to keep going, because this is the guide that you're going to be either selling or using with your clients. So remember, we are talking to the client. So here's where you get to make some decisions that feel good to you. If you are a person who's ready to ditch everything at once and begin right away, you can make your shopping list as you clean out. If you want to take this process slow, then you can start by picking one item to replace with a healthier option and put the rest back. Each day, each week, whatever feels good to you, take out another and replace it. Okay, so again, back in their court every single time. An example, if you're married to your Oreo cookies, replace them with a gluten-free Oreo cookie, organic cookie, and start adapting to the idea that you are not being deprived. You are just exchanging the things you love for things that are less inflammatory. Yes, they're still going to contain sugar for those of you who are the sugar police out there. I understand that. But what we're working on is taking things out slowly so that they don't feel stressed out and deprived. Eliminating them and only having them as a treat once in a while can be a future goal. But in the interest of just being able to get someone kick-started in this process, we don't want to just take it all away. We don't want to do that. More than likely, that person would never want to sign up with you as a health coach if you've made them feel stressed or made them feel like what they're trying to do is not doable. All right, so paleo-based pantry restock list is located there, and the refrigerator restock list is located there. The reason I follow a paleo template before anyone says, you always do paleo, I always do paleo because paleo is a pretty much surefire way to cut out any of the top inflammatory foods. You don't have to stick with paleo. You don't even have to call it paleo. You can call it whole food based restock list or whatever you want to call it. But it's a good one to make sure you're eliminating those big offenders without having to list them all out and have a don't eat this, eat this kind of list. Now, if the client wants to move towards a vegan or ketogenic lifestyle, they can customize their own restock according to a plan that they choose to follow. Okay. So just don't get married to the paleo word. Remember, take it out. If you're not a health coach that follows that kind of eating or you don't believe in it, you can change this. It's just the way that I do things, and the clean outs I've always done work really well around that list. So how much time you take to do a makeover in your kitchen is up to you, but I can encourage you to continue progressing forward with small steps. You'll realize it's not as hard as you think. All right, so then we want to give them resources for taking their learning further. What does it even mean to eat a standard American diet, right? Most people are like, I don't even know what that means. We call it SAD, S-A-D, but it's a standard American diet. This is where you're going to see the word diet because that's what it's called. If you don't have a great selection of food in your town, you can always order online at Thrive Market, where they're going to save some more, save money anyway. Another online resource with amazing deals on dried goods and more is VitaCost. That's kind of how I got my start with trying to be responsible financially about replacing things. I think I even saw a Primal Kitchen mayonnaise on there was like $2.70 cheaper than I pay for it here locally. So it really does make a difference when we look into it. Continued education on food and what it does to our body can be a powerful motivator. So I give a list of some top films to watch. And I also encourage them to invite the spouse, but make sure what they choose is suitable for kids before inviting them. Some films have animal abuse and seriously disturbing scenes, and we don't want to upset any kids, right? But we do want the whole family to get educated. Some people struggle with emotional attachments to food. Now, this is us talking to the client, you guys. This is not us saying to them, you must have an emotional attachment to food. No, but we do understand that some people feel that way. And we want to honor that if that's what they're dealing with, and say to them, this is a very common reason sometimes people can have great anxiety over change when it comes to what they eat. And it's okay. It's okay. It doesn't make it impossible. It doesn't make it make you crazy or anything like that. Then I provide an article for the client. So take a look at this article and see if it's something that resonates with you. If so, I'm happy to refer you out to get professional help if you want, or find resources for you to take your learning further on that topic. Again, it's back in their court. It is nothing to be ashamed of, and it can mean the difference between being successful at change or falling back into old patterns. So what we're trying to do here with this little section is eliminate any of the excuses that they might come up with. Well, I don't have a natural food store near me. Oh, it's too expensive. Oh, I just can't stop eating that particular thing. I don't have a problem with food or whatever. We're just kind of giving them a little bit of information to take things further. All right, then there's the disclaimer that I told you guys you can use if you want to, but again, make sure you have somebody look at it that's qualified. I'm not an attorney. I'm not qualified to tell you this would work for you. This is just what I used in all of my services and the things that I was doing with my clients. So I want to read through it though very carefully, because I want you guys to understand that we have to cover all areas. If you create your own or you're using one that doesn't cover all your areas, you may want to go in and tweak it. So we want to make sure that they understand I am not a licensed practitioner, physician, dietitian, nutritionist, nurse, or medical professional. In the course of our relationship, I will offer no medical treatments, diagnosis, or counseling. If you have a medical condition of any kind, you must maintain treatment as prescribed by your physician, regardless of my recommendations or advice, or any use of recommended online guides, supplementation, websites, or products. Now, this covers the guides that we're giving them, the links that are in this guide here, any supplements that they may run across out there in the online world that they choose to use, okay? In the case of medical diagnosis, it is vital to work with your physician to determine the best course of action and never replace one treatment for another that goes against their advice. So if you are giving them a paleo food shopping guide to restock their kitchen, and the doctor says to them, you've got to be on a low-fat diet, eating, high carbohydrates, we're basically just saying to them, like, your doctor's telling you to do that. It's up to you. Make your own decision, right? That's like kind of our disclaimer on that area. So none of the recommendations, suggestions, or written information provided are intended to replace medical advice of any kind. Seems repetitive, right? But again, throwing it back in their court. Wellness counseling is not a prescriptive service. All consultations, written or otherwise, should be considered as purely informational and carried out at the individual's own risk. The information presented is never intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. There are those words right there that we're not supposed to be using. Diagnose, cure, treat, prevent, diet, nutrition, right? Okay, heal is another one. Full medical clearance from a licensed physician should be obtained before beginning or modifying any diet, exercise, or lifestyle program, and physicians should be informed of all food changes. This is the responsibility of the client. And then the last part, your name. So Lisa Irish claims no responsibility to any person or entity for any liability, loss, or damage caused or alleged to be caused directly or indirectly as a result of the use, application, interpretation of the information presented, suggested, or recommended. So Dave Mitchell, one of my health coaches that I'm friends with, and he's a peer of all of ours, always gives me a hard time. He's like, you basically are saying that they can have your firstborn. Like, he makes fun of me, but I really try to be super thorough with this. So again, you can use it, you guys, but make sure you have an attorney look at it according to what you do with your business, where you work, and what the laws are in your area. All right, so let me look at questions and see if I answered any of them through that process. All right, so Michael is asking, have you done this as a pantry makeover party where it can be done as a group at one person's house, perhaps charge a small fee? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, sorry, you guys, the question just scooted up. So I'll answer Jenny, and then I'll go back to Michael. Sorry, Michael. Yeah, so I haven't done it that way, but here's something that I suggested a couple of years ago with a coach, and I have made small comments about this throughout the years, but you know how people have those makeup parties. They have, jewelry party. I don't know about where you guys live, but that is like all the rage around here. The monogram kids parties and so on, where someone hosts, like you're talking about. So you have a host, and that host invites people to that party. This is a great idea. So to do for that. So let's say you've got a friend who's like, all right, I'm ready. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to convert my pantry and my refrigerator. I'm ready to go. Can you help me? What you could do here is you could do the pantry clean out for free for that particular person, for that host. And then she could invite people and say, for $10, you're going to get to come to my house, or however much you guys want to charge, and see how a real pantry clean out goes. So yeah, absolutely. I would totally do this like one of those parties, one of those jewelry or makeup or monogram parties. Ask a friend to host you, have them invite people that they know, and get more exposure that way and charge a small fee. And then the host gets to benefit because they get to have a free pantry makeover, and you get exposure to people who don't know who you are. So great idea. Great, great, great. All right, Michael, if your client has a family, do you welcome the whole family to attend your on-site makeover? Absolutely, 100%. But with more people comes more time. So if you're going to do something like that, have on your fees and services, maybe you put on their pantry clean out, and you charge one fee for individual and one fee for the family, because the more people that are there, the more talking that goes on, the more questions that go on, the more educating you're going to do, the more time you're going to invest in it. And you need to make sure you pay yourself for that. So whether you can do it as an individual in charge, or you can do it hourly. And that way, no matter how many people come, it's dependent on how much time you spend there that you get paid. But yes, I absolutely would do that. All right. Jackie says, can you offer a pantry clean out as a one-off service and use an opportunity to sign them as a client? Yeah, I think I probably touched on that earlier when I was talking about the sending an email follow-up. I would definitely do that. So when you send the resource, or you send them a thank you after the clean out, like, thank you so much for having me come over and help you clean out your pantry. I offer 10% off to existing clients, So yes, absolutely. You can do that. Do it for one-off. It's a great idea for one-off because, you can make pretty good money doing that. BNI group. I don't know. Oh gosh, what was that pertaining to earlier? I can't remember. Oh my gosh. Sorry. I don't know what it's about, but give me more information, Alice. I'm sorry. If you have a disclaimer for an event at your house, do they need to sign that, or just hand it to them in writing? I would just have it sitting on the counter where they're going to see it for sure. And maybe set it, have it laminated or something like that, and have it, sitting where you have maybe some bottles of water or something like that, when they walk in, so they're sure to see it. And just maybe make that comment. I would say something like, before we get started, you guys, please make sure you're familiar with the disclaimer. Just take a quick read over it so everybody understands, and just make it very informal. You don't want to make anyone uncomfortable with it, but I wouldn't necessarily probably ask for a signature on it. I think that's a little too formal, but I would definitely make sure that you follow up. Here's what you can do also. You can send the disclaimer before they come, and if you feel more comfortable with them signing it that way, have them sign it online and send it back to you. Then when they come, if they never got it, you can just reiterate, listen, there's a disclaimer right here that everyone should have received. If you did not receive it and sign it, please check your email, or you can sign a copy over here. If signing is really important to you, and you're really just wanting to dot those I's and cross the T's, then yes, absolutely. That's two ways that you can do it. So have it signed before by email, bring attention to it at the event. If they forgot or they didn't get it, have them sign it while they're there. Just have some copies for sure. Okay. All right. So let's see here. What type of attorney should we look for to review our disclaimer? So I've worked with Lisa Fraley, and I've worked with Sam Vanderwillen, and they understand the health coaching online world. They also sell done-for-you templates. So I don't necessarily think that they would be the people to look at done-for-yous, but maybe, the ones that you've done on your own, but they might be. But they're also probably going to tell you, if you have your own template or your own document, yet they're probably going to say to you, find an attorney that's local to you so that they understand your area. I just did a webinar with Sam, I think it was last week, and that's what she said as well. So like, just to be extra protected, you can find a business attorney that may or may not understand online work if that's what you're doing. But if you're doing it locally, they'll be able to help you. Someone that is that's skilled in business. So, or you can reach out to Sam or Lisa. But I just found a local attorney and said, listen, I've got a business here locally. This is what I do, and this is the disclaimer I want to use. And he read it and he wrote back, and it all was well. So that's what I would do. All right, Tracy, yes, you will have access to the presentation. Sorry, you're probably, yeah, you got on the first, after the 20 minutes has already started. Absolutely. You'll get a replay. And again, the documents are customizable if you missed that part, and you're going to get those downloaded documents as well. What to do if they can only see typical conventional doctor that doesn't support your resource suggestions at all? Nothing. You're not going to do anything. If they see a conventional doctor, and they take the and they go to the doctor, and the doctor says to them, I don't know why you're following a paleo primal lifestyle and not eating whole grain bread anymore. The client might say to them, well, I heard that whole grain bread can spike my blood sugar and I have diabetes. I mean, that's a conversation for the client and the doctor. And all I can say, if someone comes back to me and says, I'm super confused, you're telling me this and the doctor's telling me to do this, here's what I have said. And this has happened to me many times with clients. I have said to them, here's the deal. You're the only person that lives in your body, and you're the only one that can make decisions for yourself. I'm giving you information and resources based on the most up-to-date health and wellness information that's out there today. I promised you that I would end the overwhelm as far as providing you with the resources and recommendations that I think would help to shift your health in the direction that you want to go. Only you can make the decision whether or not you want to listen to your doctor. Now, doctors typically don't have training in food and lifestyle and things like that. They typically don't. They're there to help with disease and symptoms and conditions and emergencies. So, use that kind of terminology, but, all you can say to them is just let them know, like, you're going to have to tap into your own instincts and intuition for that. And you can help them do that. You can say to them, what are your instincts telling you to do? But you can't do anything about it. They're going to have to make that decision. And that's just something that, you're going to get more skilled at as time goes on and you work with more clients. So, okay. Linda says, are these working links in the documents you're giving us so we can access the resources? Yes. Yes. I tested it today. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Kaylee test it before she sends out to make sure that you guys have no problems accessing them. Absolutely. Okay. Gay is asking, is it feasible to offer this as just as a guide without your service as an opt-in on your website? Yeah. So you're talking about, like having a pop-up where they opt in and this is downloaded automatically. Are you talking about as like something free, Gay? Or yeah, that's what I was talking about with the evergreen portion. Remember when I talked at the very beginning about how you can offer this as something that they download and you can put a video on? That's the same thing. Absolutely. So you don't have to be there. Oh, business networking group. Yeah, but I knew, but I didn't know what, oh, that's tomorrow night. That's your 10 people tomorrow night thing. Okay, got it. I'm coming back. Sorry. Once I get started teaching, I kind of forget conversation so I can stay focused. But yeah, okay. So definitely offer something that they can go sign up for that you're doing that they can get, you can get paid for, Alice, or have something that you can gather email lists, their name for your email list as well so they can be kept up to date as well. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's see here. Let's go to the chat. Any other questions about any of this, you guys? This is really quite simple. There's a lot of complication. People like to complicate things. I'm going to stop the share for a minute. They like to complicate this process of health coaching, but if we have this safe delivery and we know what we're supposed to be saying and doing and where we belong, we can really simplify our business. Like a pantry clean out really isn't that difficult. When it comes to safe and unsafe foods, we just want to avoid those things that are causing inflammation and disease in our body. If we follow the paleo outline, that is a very basic avoiding all those inflammatory foods process and in a basic guide. And listen, let's be honest. When I started working with, it was, I think it was my aunt and her husband, or maybe it was another lady and her husband, but anyway, it was a couple I was working with. And he was all totally against, like, it took him a year to sign up because he was so against it because he thought that I was going to be like, all right, all you can have is granola and vegetables and nothing else. Like, he was so freaked out about it because I think they're probably 20 years older than me. And so, back in the day in the 70s, that's what people did. It was vegan and it was granola and it was bean sprouts and all of that. With the paleo primal template, and I'm saying template because I'm not saying you have to follow this perfectly because we certainly don't, but you are able to eat things like bacon and sweet potatoes and steak and burgers with, and you can add in that gluten-free bun if you want to or whatever. So there's just so much room to wiggle with it without worrying about stepping into the inflammation part. So that's why I'm such an avid believer of the primal paleo following. So, okay, Sarah's saying, Sarah Riley, graduating from the Functional Medicine Coaching Academy this month. Yay! So I did a training for them last year, Sarah. I can't remember what the title of it was. I think it might have been the Safety course that Sandra had me teach for you guys at FMCA. So you might go back in their library and see if that's in there as well. Jackie's got a business in Miami. I'm still small and want to grow. Yeah, growing a business it's not easy when it comes to health coaching. We just got to be smart about how we spend our time for sure. Okay, Andre and Robin, I'm just looking for questions right now, you guys. Oh, so Alice, dental hygienist for 33 years. It might not have been you. I don't think it was you, but there's another person that's a dental hygienist that is literally launching an entire section of her business around what food does to our teeth. So I know you're probably, maybe that's in the back of your mind to add in, but don't forget to use the training you already have, you guys, from your life, from what you've learned or what business you've been involved in, and add it into your health coaching business if it will complement it. Okay. All right. Yeah. The real life of entrepreneurship, right? Right on. Okay. Yes. Hey, Trisha. Is everybody snowed in? Like, we've had snow. My son's been home from school since last Friday. Like, they were out Friday and all the way through this week. I bet they don't even go back till Friday. I mean, we're in Tennessee and I bet he doesn't get back in school until this Friday. I bet we're delayed. So it seems like it's happening everywhere. All right. Beth says, I'm new to this and decided about going in this direction. Yeah. I mean, the pantry clean out is so easy to add to any health coaching business. All right. We're seeing people from snowy Pennsylvania, Florida. Oh, Whidbey Island. Oh my gosh. Okay. Is that the place? And I can only see Michael. Michael, is that where they're doing where the Whidbey Rocks thing started? Type it into the thing, because I started a rock group here in Clarksville based on Whidbey Island rocks. If you guys don't know about this and you have kids or whatever, or just want something fun to do, look up Whidbey Island rocks. It's really cool. They paint rocks and put them all over the community and other people find them. It's just really neat. It's a really cool way to have community in your hometown. But anyway, let's see here. Oh, there's your question again, Alice. Okay, perfect. Let's see here. Yes, you're getting both of those documents, Lynn. Those will come to you as downloadable for you to use as a guide and use with your clients. It can be rather expensive to go to a client's house if you suggested a few friends to their house to share the cost. Yeah, kind of like what we talked about, Gabrielle, with having a party, having someone host you. A good checkout system to use. It depends. So I used PayPal. I tied all of my sales pages into PayPal, and that's where they checked out. But now I'm going through ClickFunnels, and that's where people check out. ClickFunnels is now integrated into another merchant beyond PayPal because PayPal was taking too much of a percentage of the interest. So you can start with PayPal. I think Stripe has the checkouts, things like that. So, you can look at any of those. Anything would be good to get started with if you don't have anyone that's doing landing pages and stuff for you like that. Yeah. All right. Marie says, I am an RN. I guess I would state my RN license is separate from my coaching business license. Okay. So in no way whatsoever can your RN business cross over with your health coaching business in any way. None whatsoever. The only thing that you're allowed to do with both of those titles, having dual coaching or education, is on your website, you can say what your history is or what your experience is, but you cannot use your RN language. You cannot use anything about being a registered nurse in your coaching business. It has to be completely separate, 100%. Yeah. Okay. All right. Mary Louise. Yep. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You get charged up every time you hear me talk. Oh, that's funny. All right. And don't forget, because you're in the mentorship group and students, you guys get these documents automatically added. So they will be loaded into your platform as soon as I can get my team to do it for you. So I promise you that'll get done. Anyone else who registered who is not a member of the mentorship and mastery group or the Institute for Functional Health Coaching, you will get the replay with the downloadable document sent directly to you with the email that you registered with. Okay. Just want to make sure that that's clear. All right. Reading about the snow. Yeah, they do that in the community with all the rocks. Yeah, yeah, very cool. Yeah. All right. So if you are, Lynn is asking, if you're with your client online doing the pantry clean out, are they looking at items one by one with you and referencing EWG with each item? And I'm going to answer the second part of your question. Let me answer this first part first. It depends. Not every single item is going to require a lookup with EWG. However, if they get something, I'll just use my lotion as an example. Let's just say they get a can of soup, okay? And this happened to me actually, it was a couple of weeks ago. I like to go to the grocery store. Like, I love to go there. My husband and son hate that when I have to go to the grocery store. They're like, oh my gosh, it's going to be in there forever. Because I like to walk through and see what's new and what is people are talking about as organic or natural. And I came across a can of soup and I looked at it and I was like super excited because it was like all natural, nothing unnatural, this, organic, this. I think the label was, it says yes on it or something. I can't remember. Anyway, it looked really promising, and I picked it up, and it was like, it had some, I think it was canola oil or some oil added to it. I don't remember why it did or not, but that was a no-brainer for me. I put it back. I'm like, okay, it can be gluten-free and soy-free and all that all day long, but it had canola oil in it. So with something like that, someone may not even understand or may not know. But if they're using that guide to clean out the one that I have in there that says use this guide, they're going to see that canola oil is not on there. Now, if they're like, well, I don't know, I've heard canola oil is actually something we can eat, I'm not sold, then they're going to go to EWG, look it up, and see what the rating is on EWG. So questionable things for them, or things that they are uncertain of, definitely going to look it up. Things that they cannot pronounce or don't even recognize or aren't sure of, yes, they're going to look it up. If they pull out a can of, again, olives, and there's nothing in it but olives and water, there's no need to look it up. I mean, it's just individual things. Now, if they want your guidance on it because they're not sure, and you're doing an online pantry clean out, and they come over and they hand it to you and you're not sure, just have EWG pulled up on your computer, maybe on your dual monitor or whatever, and help them with that. Like, pull it up, and then while they're continuing to clean out, you can be reading that because they can hear you, and you can say, all right, so I'm pulling up canola oil, and you're going to read about it, right? And then they're going to be like, okay, so now I know anything with canola oil I should not be eating, and they're going to know that, and it goes in the unsafe pile. Okay. And then you say, are you just guiding through each item as they look at the label? Kind of. I mean, it's going to be according to what they pull out, really. They can even put the computer or whatever really close to the pantry. And if they start to put something in the safe pile and it doesn't belong there because the product, then you can say, hey, will you bring that item over here and let me take a look at it real quick? Let's take a peek at this. I think this is one worth looking into. So, but yeah, and it's something that I would definitely have pulled up too if I was doing an online session, just to make it easier for them as well. All right. I need help with landing page. Could you recommend someone or software to make a landing page? I'm not smart in design. Oh, Alex. Oh gosh. You know what? It is like the pain point for so many coaches when it comes to technology and design. So as far as landing pages are concerned, I mean, there are tons of people out there that are offering, help with landing pages, and again, can help you with that. But it's really going to depend on your webmaster. Do you have a webmaster, and can they create one for you? Because I know, like in WordPress, that's what my website is. Before I had a team that did it for me, my webmaster would create a landing page, or I went in and created a landing page in WordPress. So it depends on where you are, like what your website is, what it's being run by, or where you are as far as technology speaking with your webmaster. Here's the other thing you can do. So you can go to, I'm going to type it in, eventbrite.com. And you can create your event for pantry clean out or whatever there. If you want to do a group training or something like that, they allow you to make a landing page there as well. So first, the first question is, who is your webmaster? Because they should be able to create a landing page pretty simply for you with using a plugin. Okay, that's what I use. Okay. Yeah, I can't help you with how to make them because, I mean, it depends on your system. It depends. If you're using Wix or you're using Squarespace or whatever, it should be pretty easy to go in the back door of your website and create that landing page, because I hear they're pretty navigatable. Is that a word? Navigatable? Anyway, easy to navigate. For me, I had to learn a lot from WordPress just to get in there and create a landing page. And I was like pulling my hair out. That was the beginning of my outsourcing. So I do encourage you, outsource the things that you are not familiar with or you don't understand, and use your energy to focus on the things that you do want to spend time in. Okay. And website design and landing page and all that just isn't one for me. All right. Lisa says, thank you so much. You covered every base. Yay. That's what I try to do. That's why I try to do these trainings, that I cover every, cross every T, dot every I. All right. What I recommend having peruse EWG before the clean out session. You can, if you want, you can send it as a precursor, but it can be overwhelming too. So if someone is just getting started with this kind of thing, if they go to EWG, they might be like, oh my gosh, before they even get started, they may think you're asking them to go in there and take out everything that's on EWG. So it may be a little much. I might just wait and have them have it open when you're doing the clean out. Yeah, Jill is saying, I use MailChimp. If you use them for mail, you can do it. Yeah, whoever your email server is also another option too. Yeah. Okay. So let's see here. Navigable. Kate says navigable. That doesn't sound right either. That word just seems weird to me. Anyway, it's probably right because I know you are the grammar girl. All right. So which WordPress plugin did you use for creating a landing page? I don't remember what it was. It was a couple years ago when I was working in it, but now Kaylee does all of that. Okay. I use Fiverr app. Yeah. So Fiverr, there's some people out there that could probably help you with that as well. How much do you charge for the Pantry Makeover class? So for a class, remember this, you guys, when you're doing one-on-ones, it's going to be more expensive. And when you do groups, you can charge less because the more people you have, the more money you're going to bring in. It's just going to depend. I might do a Pantry Makeover class, charge $27 per person or something like that. I don't know. It's just going to depend on where you live, how much experience you have, what you're offering, how much time you spend. Are you going locally? Are you doing online? It all depends. But just keep that general rule that one-on-ones are always going to be more expensive. When you do a group, you are able to make it more affordable for people, because if you have 10 people that are giving you $27, that's $270 as opposed to one person who might be giving you $150, okay? All right, the EWG lists soybean oil and canola oil as good oils. Well, somebody should educate them. Somebody should educate them. I haven't looked up oils in a long time on EWG, but what I do use it for are those, the things like fillers or the things that are on the boxes, or things even on supplement pill bottles like microcrystalline cellulose or things like that. I'm really surprised that EWG lists that as a good oil. I'll have to go out there and take a peek at that. What's the rating? Is it do they have a 2, a 3, a 1? Like, what is it? If you've got it open, plug it into the chat for me real quick and we'll take a peek. All right. So for I already covered how much you charge for the Pantry Makeover. Like again, it's just depending on where you are. For me, it was per hour, and anything beyond that was an added charge. So you can't find a profile for it specifically. Yeah, I'm really shocked about that too. I'm going to look into that a little bit when we get done today. All right, let me look one more time back at the questions, the Q&A. If they're with you doing, we already done that, so I answered that live already. Sandy says, do you offer a list of safe and unsafe ingredients to the client? It's actually in the guide. So where I showed you, let me pull my screen up one more time. Is this it? I think this is it. So in this right here, you are going, let me move all these little windows. I've got windows everywhere. They're covering things. So right here, use a guide like this or this as your guideline for what is safe and unsafe. So literally you're just giving them a link that links out for them to pull it up. And those are literally it's literally a paleo or primal lifestyle outline. So you're not going to find any oils or anything on there that are not safe for them to put in the safe pile. Yeah. So that's kind of your list, really, is that guide. Okay. Do you have a webinar on how to get clients when you first start your coaching business? Yes, I do, Sarah. Oh my gosh. Let's see. I've got a million webinars I've been doing. I mean, my YouTube channel is full of them, full of trainings on potential to pain, how to work with work with clients. I will absolutely include some helpful things to link to what my trainings are about, Sarah, if that would be helpful for you, so that you can look and see what I do. I do all of this stuff, how to get clients online and locally. I think I just finished a training about that a couple of weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. I'll find it for you. And then I'll make sure you get it, Sarah. And you can also email me directly, Sarah, at carmenhunterhealth@gmail.com if you want, and I can get you a link for that as well. I'll also include it, if anybody's interested, I'll include it in the email replay. So making a note for myself here to send to my team to include that if you guys are interested. Okay. All right. Yes. Okay. Jennifer says, awesome. Thank you. You're welcome. All right. Do you remember? Okay. There were landing page questions again. In your mentoring program, all the details how to make a landing page? No. Nope, it's not. But there's thousands of trainings in the mentorship and mastery program. If no one has heard about the mentorship mastery program yet, you guys, this is where we do all kinds of trainings, all kinds of business building documents. I can send you on where to learn about landing pages and things like that, but I don't make them. So that's not in my wheelhouse. And I depend on experts and professionals to do that stuff for me, because I like to do this stuff right here. Do I have a grocery store label reading class? No, because I've never been a person that really goes in there and wants to break down things like saturated fats and this and this. I mean, I've never been an FDA label reader. I've always been all about quality. Like, what is the quality of the food that's in what I'm eating? Not only that, is that whole food really isn't a lot of packaged foods. So it's not something I've ever really focused on. And also the resources are out there by the FDA. If you want to learn how to read labels, you can simply add a URL into this document that teaches them how to read labels if that's what you want to do. But again, remember, I mean, I'm telling them, please don't focus on calories, carbs, et cetera, for this particular clean out. We want to work on quality, not quantity. It's all about the quality. If you know the quality of your food is grass-fed, humane, organic, non-GMO, USDA certified, safe, whatever, then you really don't need to know what the label means, right? Most people don't need to know that. You just want to make sure that the food that you're eating is quality food. Okay, I hope that's helpful, Carrie. All right, Natalie said, I read the labels of the fresh soup at Whole Foods, around 30 ingredients for just a vegetable soup. Also, something suggests not to eat. It depends on it. Depends. I mean, vegetable soup. Okay, so let me back up for just a second. We have a Whole Foods in Nashville. I have been repeatedly disappointed by everything that they had on their hot bar. I don't know if you guys ever go there. I mean, I go up there for appointments. I mean, every week I'm in Nashville, and it's 45 minutes to an hour away, and I'm up there all the time. So Whole Foods I will scoot into to grab some mayonnaise or something I can't get here, or I'll scoot in to grab something. But one of the things I've always avoided is like their pre-packaged foods, right? And their hot bar and their cold bars and all of that. And one of the reasons is because when we were traveling one time, we were in Knoxville, I think it was, and I was starving. And I was like, all right, just pull over at the nearest Whole Foods. I'll find something in there. And I wanted something hot, just some food, right? I go in there and everything I picked up had canola oil. Every single label was like canola oil, soy, canola oil, vegetable oil, soy. I was like so disappointed. I ended up leaving there with a protein bar and something else. I don't know. It was just ridiculous. So even though it's Whole Foods, you'd think everything in there is healthy, right? It's so the opposite. Most of the time when you start picking things up like that. So would I suggest they not eat it? It depends on the actual product. If it's all like 25 vegetables and then the other ingredients are water, salt, pepper, things like that, then of course they can eat it. But if it's, 20 vegetables and then the other 10 ingredients are things like fillers or cornstarches or xanthan gums or gums or whatever, then that's a no, right? So it's each individual item is going to have to have, individual attention, is in my opinion. And but let me say this, they're redeeming themselves because they started carrying paleo food. So now things say paleo, and then I know the list underneath that is safe for me. So they're using olive oil or they're using coconut oil, things like that. So I will say they're redeeming themselves locally here. They're starting to use paleo foods in their hot bar. Okay. Any suggestions around how to handle cultural foods, which tend to have a special place for people, but many are full of inflammatory additives? So Robin, I think you're probably asking about people who have a specific diet, maybe they eat kosher or whatever. And it's just, that a lot of their foods are inflammatory, but it has to do with what they're culturally used to eating. I guess what I would try to do with people like that is, first of all, you can't change that. You don't want to offend anyone. But what you can do is, you can share that list and say, do the best you can to stay as close as possible to your beliefs and what feels right to you by following this. That's all you can do. And maybe even substituting one thing for another, or helping them to find a way to eat according to their culture in a way that doesn't follow those inflammatory additives. And that could be something as simple as, like if they're eating Indian food. I mean, I don't know anything about Indian food, so I'm just using that as an example, everybody. But maybe plugging in something in Google that says paleo lifestyle, Indian food, something. I don't know. You can see what's out there. So if something like that crosses your radar, that would be the best way to do it. That's how I would follow it. But always honor someone, when it comes to their culture. You absolutely want to honor what choices they make with that. But if they're reaching out for you for help with their health, then yes, it definitely deserves a conversation. Natalie says, do you go over every single ingredient with EWG, or do you let them trust your explanation? Again, it depends. I think I answered that one pretty well. If it's a product that they're questioning, I don't know, this one says olive oil and you said I could eat olive oil, or whatever. You're just going to have to take each individual ingredient and be specific with what you believe or what you've heard. And you are just explaining it to them, and you are just saying to them, in my experience, this has, or in my experience, this is what I've learned. And then just tell them to do what feels best to them. Yeah. So, and I don't look up every ingredient. It's not necessary. What's the best way to sell the Pantry Makeover? I got to get a drink, you guys. Again, so the best way to sell a pantry makeover is be a really good copywriter, first of all, or hire one, and do a page or an ad or something like that, or a live video that talks about what you're putting in your mouth. So could be harming your health or whatever. You got to come up with a really catchy title to whatever it is you choose to do, and then you can absolutely do that. This is what I call the free coaching event. So the free coaching event is always on the front end, providing value of the paid coaching event. Okay. So do a 30 to 45 minute free, Q&A on Zoom, invite people, build your list, do a live video, announce it a week ahead of time or a couple days ahead of time. Say on Friday, I'm going live on my personal page and I'm going to tell you guys that what you're putting in your mouth could be affecting your whatever. Make it appealing. It could be affecting your sex life, could be affecting your thyroid, could be affecting your sleep, whatever. And then talk about what we talked about earlier. Pick an inflammatory food, whatever it is that you choose to focus on it. Give them value. Always give value, and then invite them to the paid part. Invite them to the paid group. Make sure you have that paid link open and ready to plug into your comments when you're doing your live, or to share in your chat box when you're doing an event like this. But whatever you do, free leads to paid. Okay, free value leads to paid. Never lead to something paid without giving value. It's just nobody wants to be sold to without, being given something that's valuable. All right. What program are you using for this webinar allowing screen sharing? Zoom. Zoom is the platform for meetings and webinars that I use. It absolutely 100% is the best method of webinar, slide deck sharing, screen sharing, all that I've found so far. Yes. So Zoom is it. Okay. So Linda says, they have to choose one to list in the spot before they start the process with you. No, they don't. I wonder if that would make them stuck, or if they weren't sure which list to choose. If you found that to be the case, you talk them through it. I think, Linda, you're asking me about these two lists, right? Are you talking about these two lists that, using it as a guide? Is that what you're asking me? Because it's up to them, but these are the two that's going to make it the easiest for them, because it cuts out these inflammatory foods. You can tell them, whichever one feels best to you. They're just learning. Basically, that's what they're doing. They're learning what's safe and unsafe. So it's not going to make them stuck, because they're just learning. And then remember, at the end of a pantry cleanup that's not tied to a full-blown dive-in elimination plan, they're getting to put it all back too. Okay, so at the very end of it, I'm like, you don't have to do it. You don't have to replace it all today. You can put it all back unless you want to dive in. Then they can choose whatever list they want to build their shopping list from. But I don't have to talk anyone through a list. Typically, you just pull it up and follow it. It's just like any other plan. Make sure that I'm clear on that, though, that you're talking about where I'm circling down here with my cursor, or using the guide like this. Yeah. Okay. So let's see here. You're welcome, Julia. Thank you for the compliment. I'm glad you found it useful. So Carrie saying, I think people make the assumption if they buy something Whole Foods, automatically good. I know. They were genius when they named it Whole Foods. I think it would be good or necessary to discuss MSG and all the names of hidden MSG like natural flavors. Otherwise, a client might miss some very harmful ingredients when they read the label. Yes, absolutely. But here's the other thing. Remember, we're talking to them about how to make smarter choices, right? So the longer the label, the more ingredients we won't know or understand. So yes, when they come to you, let's say they pull something out of the pantry that it's a box or whatever, it's loaded with ingredients. You can walk through all of them if you want. It's up to you, but you're going to run across this where you are going to have that discussion. And also, when they do go in here into these guides and stuff, there's a lot of education on those pages as well. And you're going to see that when you open up. Again, I don't want to open it up because I'm afraid that my windows will disappear because I've got two monitors rolling right now. But yeah, I mean, there's opportunity to talk about anything and everything, fillers and supplements and prescriptions and stuff like that. This opens the door for so much more than just a pantry clean out. So again, it's customizable. Add MSG in there if you want to. That's totally up to you. Customizable. Use it however you want to use it. Going back to the chat, and we're getting close to 2 o'clock. Looks like we're doing an hour and a half today, which is great. You guys have so many good questions too. So let me see here. I'm scrolling down to see if there's anything else. Any other questions? How do you draw the line with one-on-one in-person pantry clean out and not turn into a cleaning session? I don't know what that question means. And not turn it into a cleaning session. I don't know what that means. Give me more, Helen. Are you talking about like taking the whole house and turning it upside down? Or how do you draw the line with it Not turning in. I don't understand the question. I'm sorry. Give me more. Go a little further with that. Yeah. So Linda's saying, do they need to choose which list to know which are safe and unsafe foods and ingredients with your time with you to clean out the pantry? Do they need to choose which list to know which are safe and unsafe foods? No, they can do it as they go. I mean, they don't have to, I mean, they just pull up the list and start. That's what the whole process is about. There's no need to get educated on the front end of it. I'm hoping that's answering that question. It's pretty cut and dry. It's really not a complicated process. You just pull up the list. These things are safe. If it's not on this list of safe things, then it goes in the unsafe pile. It's really quite simple. When you get the download, open it up, look at everything, Linda, and then of course go to the Institute student page and tag me if it's not clear. And I'm happy to help you walk through that. All right, Rebecca says, what about a 2 or 3 step clean out to give them time to slowly clean out, replace, and adjust? That's what this is. Yeah, that's what this is, literally. So you can change it to break it into pieces if you want to. That's totally up to you. But doing this in a way where someone is able to take the whole pantry out at one time and see it all in one place has been really, really powerful for my clients. Taking out a couple things at a time, not as much. So they see all of those things and like overwhelmed by how much junk they've got in there, right? So you can change it to do a 2 to 3 step clean out if you want. But really what we're doing is saying that to them. We're saying, hang on a minute. We actually say this. Where is it? On the number 9, take a picture of each pile when completed. This is going to be a great incentive to continue to make changes in other areas and will be a good way to compare how far you've come after a few weeks of making changes. But then also, I said it somewhere else too here. Where did I say this? I wish I could find it quickly, but I did talk about, taking out one thing one week and another next week or in the month, whatever. We're telling them, make these decisions based on how they feel. So where is it? Anyway, it's in the document. I touched on it briefly, so maybe go back and look at it when you get it. Helen says, not wanting to help them clean their kitchen. Well, I ain't going to nobody's house to clean their kitchen. That ain't part of the deal. So, I mean, there's no line to draw. You're there to do a pantry clean out. When the pantry clean out is done, they're cleaning their own kitchen. I mean, I've never run into anybody asking me to stick around and help clean their kitchen, ever, like never. Sandy's giving a good book title, Food Additives, A Shopper's Guide to What's Safe and What's Not by Christine Hoza, Farlow, DC. Small enough to carry it to the grocery store. Great resource. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, so that would be something that you could even, I recommend take that link, Sandy, that you're talking about from Amazon. I'm sure you can find it as Amazon, and tie it into your account. So does everybody understand what I'm talking about? When you get your Amazon affiliate, if you're signed up as an Amazon affiliate, you can grab that URL, plug it into your document, and when people purchase that book, you get credit for it. So if you're not an affiliate with Amazon, you guys go out and affiliate with Amazon, grab this book that Sandy's talking about, the URL, and plug it into your pantry clean out. That's a great idea and a great resource as well. Or if you're going to someone's home, have some of these books, if you make this a big part of your business, and bring it with you as a gift. So for hiring me for the pantry clean out, here's a book for you to carry to the grocery store, and then you do your clean out. Okay, yeah. She's got it up there, Rebecca. Sandra's telling us that it's called Food Additives, A Shopper's Guide to What's Safe and What's Not, and there's the author's name. Can we get access to documents about the Pantry Makeover tips? You are getting access to the documents, Alex. I'm giving them to you, absolutely. And you know what, you guys, give me a second here. I'll pull this thing up here. Hold on, and I'll share this link with you. Hang on a second. Let's do this. I'm hoping my screen doesn't disappear. Okay, so let me show you guys this. For those of you who aren't doing this yet, and I know there's still 52 people hanging in here with us, so that's great. But some people had to go back to work. So Food Additives, it's probably right here. Is this it? Yep, there it is. Okay, so this is the book that Sandy's talking about. I'm going to show you. I'm an Amazon affiliate. I'm going to grab this link right here. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it right here for you guys. There. Now, if any of you bought this book from my link, I will get credit. I may make 5 cents. I may make $1. I don't know. But I'm an affiliate. I'm sharing my link with you. It's a great way to tuck things into your documents for your client so that they are shopping on your Amazon account. In order to keep your Amazon account, you have to have people signing, purchasing from your links in order for them to leave your affiliate account open. So make sure that, that you're doing that, sharing links at every point you can. Okay. What would be very helpful to answer a lot of these questions, we go through a sample session using 3 or 4 products and walking through to let us see exactly how you do it with references pull up. Oh my God. A visual would be great. I know it'd be great if I had another me, because I mean, yeah, that would require a whole other ball game of training, for me to set up in my pantry and do all of that. But I have total faith in how you guys are able to do this. This is really simple. It truly is. Once you get the documents, I promise you, you're going to pull it up and you're going to go back to what I've talked about today. And you're going to see, even do this in your own kitchen before you do it with someone else. This is something I would suggest. So get your, do your unsafe and safe piles, go to your pantry and start pulling things out, and clean out your own pantry. I mean, I don't even want to think about what mine looks like right now. It's a disaster. But clean out your own so you know what it would feel like for them to be pulling things out and looking at labels and understanding how they're going to get where they want to be with their pantry. So let's see here. Alex says, what program do you use to put a hyperlink in your document? I just copy and paste. So like I just did just now, there's no program. I just went out, grabbed the link, copied it, pasted in here. I would have a Word document open and I would do the same thing here. So that's what I've done for you guys as well. So this right here is a link from a website. I've just copied it and pasted it, Alex. Yeah, super simple. Okay. All right, you guys, any other questions? Let me see the Q&A. Holy moly, I can talk, can't I? Holy mackerel. All right, Angelique, I don't know how to say your name, but it looks pretty, and I always butcher names. I'm terrible at it, but you were asked to speak at a local natural food store, and a pantry makeover is perfect. Awesome. So do your speech, lead into a pantry makeover, have something for them to sign up with. Absolutely, that's great. Thank you for all the information. You're welcome. If you're doing it at a store, would I take the group through the store after presentation? You could absolutely do that. I've done that at a natural food store here locally. When I was down, just kind of set myself up for the day. I went down there and anybody that walked in, they were like, oh, what do you do? What are you doing here? Whatever. And I had my cards and stuff out. And I said, she was like, well, I'm looking to buy something, I don't remember what it was. I think it was like noodles or something. And I just walked her through the store. And once we got started, we really started looking at all kinds of labels. I think that's a great idea. Don't get caught up in too much though, because you don't want to give away the pantry makeover before people sign up for it. So absolutely, you can do the presentation. Then say if you're interested in seeing what I'm going to be doing with this pantry makeover, let's walk over to a couple of shelves and I'll give you a general idea of how it's going to look. And then you can give an example. So yeah. All right, Andre, the book is in the chat section. Let me make sure all of these questions are answered. And I think, we should be good. All right, no more questions. Awesome. And as always, I like to stay until all questions are answered and that your needs are met and you guys have what you need and all your questions hopefully are answered. If they're not, make sure that you reach out in the Clarity group. If you are a student, reach out in the student group. If you are a member of the Mentorship and Mastery group, reach out there. You can tag me and I'll do my best to answer for you. So thanks so much for joining me, you guys. Thanks for sharing all your information. And I go back and I look at these chat notes and I look at who's been here, get to know you guys a little bit better. So thank you for sharing information about yourselves. In this world where we are just so disconnected, this is my way of connecting with you guys and not feeling like I'm living in a bubble. So thanks so much for joining me. Keep your eyes open. And I'm so glad to have you, Lisa. I'm so glad you were able to make it. Keep your eyes open for the replay and the downloadable documents. And then visit the IFHC and the HCMM platforms. They should be loaded by tomorrow. Okay? All right, guys. Happy cleaning. Thanks so much.